right.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 1 of FlashDrive. I'm your host, Lee Stoker, and my fellow... There he is, my fellow host, Chris Begg.
I have to always interrupt. That's kind of my thing.
Can I call you the Begster?
If
I
you
won't.
want.
I won't,
No one
but
else
can
has, but
I'm going to start a trend. So, FlashDrive, you're probably wondering what this is all about. Each week, well, hopefully each week, we're going to look at some news articles in the tech arena and some news articles in the gaming arena. And then at the end of the show, we'll have a couple of picks for you. We'll get to that at the end, so stay tuned for that. So let's get into it with the very first news article that we've got this week. And it's not a doozy, but we'll have a look anyway.
Oh, I was hoping for a doozy.
Well, you know, that's young. Right.
I'll settle for a doily.
A doily. First one off the rank is Apple has extended the olive leaf to Google because they're best mates. We all know that. And they've made it possible now to take all your iCloud photos and video and automatically sync it to Google Photos.
So take all your iCloud photos and move them to Google Photos?
Well, they're calling it a backup.
Oh.
So it's got to be done through the Mac, from what I can see here. So it's not exactly a real sync, so to speak. It's another way to back up your photos. So
I don't really see a point.
Well, I guess if you had like I
How many
pay
cloud storages do you need?
at least one more. You know, we've got Google Photos and we've got iCloud. The worst thing about iCloud, that's because I use everything. The worst thing about iCloud is that you can't share automatically your stuff with your partner. So my partner's got 30,000 photos. I've got 30,000 photos, all of slightly different angles to each other. So we've got like all this stuff that I would just love to see it. Now Google Photos does it. You can select a partner to go, hey, just give that person all my photos.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, you have to pay for Google Photos now, don't you?
Correct. That is exactly right. So from the 1st of July this year, most people, nearly everyone, will have to pay for Google Photos. They're essentially taking away. They had two versions of the uploads for Google Photos. There was the reduced quality version, and there was the original quality version. They've basically removed that high quality. I think you can still have it as an option, but they're actually telling people that they shouldn't use it, the reduced quality, which is a really good way to sell a product.
I mean, why would you want your photos to be reduced quality?
Exactly. So, and video, I think for video, it's okay, but it's like, 720p sort of quality as it goes up.
I mean, with videos, just upload them to YouTube. It's free.
Correct. You're quite correct. So, yeah, so it's nice to see them do this, but it's not enough. Like everything Apple ever does, not quite enough. But thank you, Apple.
It's a thing.
Yeah. So moving along on the Apple front, and sometimes this stuff can be a little bit Apple focused. That's the world I live in, and Chris is in it too. But we try and be a little bit unbiased. But a big one came across this week was the iMac Pro is being continued.
Discontinued.
Yes.
The opposite of continued.
They should put an article out every week of stuff that's still continued. I'd watch that. So iMac Pro.
Why are they discontinuing it?
Well, there's a couple of theories.
Well?
Now, there's a couple of theories. The first one is that it was never really a product that they wanted to keep around. So the iMac, for those that that don't know the really shortened history of it, the Mac Pro was around, this big cheese grater Mac Pro that was awesome and it was beefy, but they never bloody updated the thing. So eventually, after 10 years of people complaining, Apple went, hey, we should update the Mac Pro. So they did this, the trash can Mac Pro, which literally looked like a trash can, and everyone hated it. And it didn't. It looked sexy, but it was totally not what pros wanted. They were like, we need something that we can open up and upgrade. And they were like, hey, you're welcome, everyone here.
That's also my biggest issue with the MacBook Pros.
Yep.
Is that you can't open it up and upgrade it.
Yep.
And that's kind of the point of it being a pro model, is that you can do that sort of thing for what you need.
I had a razor blade at the start of the year, and you could take the bottom off, and you had access to everything. You could swap out could swap out the SSDs. You could change the RAM. Basically, gave you access to the whole thing. So really, and I think a lot of those kind of gaming machines are like that, even for a laptop, which is cool. So iMac Pro came out. They had the iMac, which I think you've got one of those, Chris. Beautiful screens.
Yeah, I'm actually using it right now with
Whoa.
Windows.
The 4K screen is a beautiful screen, and it's still good these days.
Amazing.
Yeah. So what they did is they decided to basically reinvent, like as they do, the original cheese grater Mac, this big Mac Pro that they had, but they needed it a couple of years to get it sorted. So this was the interim product. This is what came out.
Oh, okay. So they're going to get rid of this. Is and this they'll probably pair that with that giant $5,000 screen.
Maybe. Well, it's. I mean, what some people are saying. We've got the new M1 Macs that are out now, the MacBook Air and the MacBook Pro, and apparently they're just amazing. I haven't used one, but apparently they just fly, these things. So the next cab off the rank would be the iMac. So it's really due for a refresh. It hasn't changed in years and years.
I think just my biggest thing with that is that a lot of people that use the Pros or that kind of thing is usually, audio or video or, graphic design, that sort of thing.
Yep.
A lot of those apps aren't yet ready for the M1s.
Yeah.
So,
yep. And I think you've got a probably not a massive group of people, but quite a large sector of people that run Parallels, run VMware of Windows on their Macs.
Has that been updated yet for M1?
No, and they don't think it will ever happen.
Wow.
So you kind of, you've got a couple of you maybe have one or two more generations that they'll have Intel based, and then that'll be gone. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, there's an ARM version of Windows that's really not great, and that's kind of been they're going to hang their code on that, and so maybe we can bring that over. But it's not, it's nowhere near as easy as porting an app over, and even the apps have had some issues. So especially the ones with really super old code. The Adobe stuff comes to mind. That's only just got Photoshop and Lightroom, I think, are the two that have been done. But so I use the Adobe stuff. I'm transitioning over to Affinity at the moment, but yeah, the Adobe stuff is still the meat and potatoes of the industry. So until that's all working on the M1, it's not going to be a viable option. So I think the Intel Macs are going to be around for a while, or people just won't upgrade. And I think Apple realized that. That's why they're still having it as the possibility to buy both at the moment. But anyway, the iMac Pro's been shut down. Hopefully we'll get an iMac, new iMac with a new design and the M1 stuff in it. But we will see, because Apple likes to keep secrets, I've heard.
And then they'll do a huge announcement and everyone will go, we knew it.
On the discontinued bandwagon.
Discontinued or discontinued?
It is definitely discontinued. They're clearing out the shelves, obviously. The original HomePod. Have you had one of these?
I have never had one of these. To be honest, until I heard that this was being discontinued, I didn't even know it existed.
Such a fanboy. So, so the HomePod
I always wondered why there wasn't an Apple one like
speaker.
this, because you never see this in any stores or anything.
I've listened to it at the store, and I went, yeah, cool. And apparently, I don't have one, but apparently you have them at home, and it fills out the room better than any other speaker. But I don't. It was like $500.
Yeah, but I've got an Alexa, she just heard me say Alexa.
She's listening.
And it's got a little screen. It cost me like $80.
Yep.
And I don't use it to play music for it. I'm like, just for weather updates and news updates and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got a Google Home, a Google Nest, which has the screen in it, and that's all for what it is. That's awesome. It syncs all your Google photos. It has Google Assistant built in, which is arguably the best one. I mean, Alexa's probably on par with it, but it's it ties in with all the Google sort of stuff. But it was one of those. It was one of those things that, because it was all run by Siri, nothing should ever be run by Siri. I think.
See, I think the big thing is because like now I use mine. It's mostly like a photo slideshow.
Yep.
So to have one now without a screen seems kind of pointless.
Yeah. So they've got a HomePod Mini, so that just came out last year, and that's I think 150. So it ties in with the Google's got a Nest something speaker. It basically is price matched to that, the same as that. So they've got the minis, and they all work in stereo and into
they're
room
keeping
mode
the mini,
and stuff.
aren't they?
They're keeping the
Just
mini.
getting rid of the non-mini.
The Maxi. The Maxi's gone.
The Maxi Pod.
Yeah. Right. So, Christopher, if I was to say to you, I'm going to sell you an NFT, would you know what the hell I was talking about?
No flute track suit pants.
You said you didn't know what you were talking about.
A notorious flirting trumper.
See? Easy. So NFT, if you were sick and tired of hearing about Bitcoin, well, I'm about to make your day worse. NFTs. They stand for, and I have to read this again.
Kings of Leon.
NFTs are non-fungible tokens.
So they're not made of mushrooms.
That's how I read it. So they're a type of cryptocurrency, and it's created on a smart contract platform such as Ethereum. Now, I'm not a huge Bitcoin guy. I don't have any Bitcoin. Missed that boat. But it's the idea. The general idea is that you can have a collectible. What do they call it? I guess like it has to be electronic. So it's got to be like it's a collectible, I guess, something that's collectible, but it's electronic. So a good example that everyone's talking about now is like JPEGs. So JPEG, there was a JPEG that went out that was worth is auctioning off for 60 million or something. Essentially it has to be digital, and it's just another way to waste your money.
Yeah, I don't see the point.
Well,
I can just be getting old and just not understand things like those kids with their NFTs and their hula hoops and.
Well, feeding onto this, the NFT is, of course, our good friend Jack Dorsey from Twitter.
Oh,
his first tweet. You did hear about this one?
I heard about this one, but I didn't read it. I heard about it.
So his first tweet, Jack Dorsey, who owns Twitter, CEO. His first tweet was just setting up my Twitter with interesting spelling. That was the very first tweet ever. So this is
before vowels were invented.
Yeah. Yeah. This is is selling it as an NFT. So this might clear things up depending on how old you are, but essentially he's creating an NFT of that first tweet, and you can buy it, and it can be yours, and people are willing to pay up to 10 million. And this is
Can I sell myself as an NFT?
Yes, no. A photo of yourself you could, as long as it was digital.
Oh, I've only got Polaroid.
And it'd be awesome if, like, the very first JPEG went like really crappy quality, like, you know, the old camera phones. Yeah, so
the very first, the world's first digital photo.
Yeah. So that's what an NFT is, and you're trading them, and you can auction them. I guess like a bit of artwork, is the best way to think about it. And assuming it would grow in value at some point.
I'm still very confused.
I don't know if I would do it unless I had a lot of money to waste.
I mean, I'd sell them.
Yeah.
Like if I get to sell an individual pixel for $10 million, sure.
I'll give you half price. I'll give you
$5 million.
Yeah, yeah. So there you go, NFTs. So look out for those, and they're going to be just as annoying as Bitcoin is, maybe.
It's the Bitcoin of the future.
It's the Bitcoin of the future. So phone fans, the OnePlus 9, which we don't get here, is coming out. So the OnePlus brand, I think we had the OnePlus 1 up to 3 maybe, or OnePlus 4.
Who creates OnePlus?
So OnePlus is owned by the same company that owns Oppo and another one. So basically it's all the same company. Different phones though, they're all different phones. Maybe Xiaomi? Maybe
no, I don't want to chow you.
Go on. We've got time.
Maybe later.
So they own a couple of, and it's Chinese. They own a couple of different brands, and over here in Australia we get Oppo, and in the States and India and a few other places in the UK they get OnePlus. Now, OnePlus used to be, when they first came out, they were like the Nexus phones. They were super cheap, had really good specs on them, and they went like hotcakes because it was just really good value for money. And then the last 2 years, I think, they kind of just shot up in price. And you're basically paying, you know, in Australia anyway, if you can import one, you're probably paying just as much as you pay for maybe a top level Samsung.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that's not cheap.
It's not cheap, and there's so, like, because we're so, our proximity to China, we get so many of those brands in anyway. So the Oppo has just come out too. The Oppo Pro, it's the dumbest name ever. Oppo Find X3 Pro has just been released. Just come out last week. I think it's not out yet. It's just been announced. And it reminds me of another phone that I can't quite put my finger on. Definitely not the iPhone.
Very much an Appo vibe in this website.
Yeah. It's cool. That's all one bit of glass that curves like that. So it's cool. I had the Find X2 Pro, and it was one of my favorite phones of last year. It was a really good phone. I have about 28 phones.
Mind you, Lee is the kind of guy that changes his phone more than his underwear. So,
I'm yet to change it this year. Record. So,
you should probably change your underwear.
Maybe
for health reasons.
So, they've just announced the Find X3. I don't think it's actually due out in stores till next month. But apparently, it's not as good as last year's, which is disappointing because that was the one I was going to grab for a while. And use, but it was actually the best camera I'd used at all. Really good white balance, the Find X2, but it had like just that lag of the shutter. Like, you know, you get an iPhone, you can't compete with that. How fast that thing takes photos. You know, try and take a photo of a cat or a dog or a little human or whatever, And, you know, if that shutter speed's not there, they're gone. And it's just a shit, I mean, a bad, blurry mess. Excuse my French. So anyway, so Oppo's coming out. And same time, yes. So they all get kind of released at the same time each year. Closer to home, Apple are releasing the ECG or EKG, depending on what article you read,
from.
feature in the Apple Watch. So Chris and I are both Apple Watch owners. Now, I believe it is from Apple Watch Series 4 and above. So your ECG detects irregular heart rhythm.
So it's with WatchOS 7.5, is it?
Yeah. That's when they reckon it will come out. So they're not going to drop, like, I think 7.4.
What I don't understand here is, isn't this available in the US and in other regions?
Yes.
So
New Zealand got it before we did.
Switch it on.
I think it's got to roll out with the release, with the software release. So they could just release a point upgrade, you know, point 14.4 point whatever, 0.2 or whatever up to now, and that would roll it out. But they're just going to wait till, I think 14.5 is really close, as in next week or the week after. So I dare say it will come with that. So interesting story about this whole thing is that everyone was kind of throwing up their arms. Well, everyone, that was me, about the government not approving this, you know, because it has to go through the health, what do they call it? Don't know. Whatever Australia has for the
health government.
The health government. They've got to approve it. So there was another brand of watch called something that came out last year, year before. It was not long after the Apple Watch released this feature. And it came out in Australia and they had it. So everyone was like, hold on, this is weird. Everyone was having a go at the government, and they turned around and said, sorry, we actually haven't received any paperwork from Apple. So it took them 2 years to get the necessary paperwork lined up. So New Zealand got it, I think, 2 months ago. And all they had to do was do the paperwork. 2 weeks later, it was approved. It was a similar thing with, I don't know if you remember, Apple Pay. So when Apple Pay first came out, it was only on like two banks had it, and everyone was complaining, like, you know, my bank should move their butt and get it sorted, but it wasn't the banks, it was Apple. I guess when you're in that many different countries, things just take time. This
is why you set up offices in each country to handle those things. You know,
we could run the Apple office.
It's not like they have a lack of funding to be able to set up an office in each country.
I think they'll be okay.
They have a whole floor at their office dedicated to surplus cash.
Yeah, that's right. Where did we put this amount of money? I don't know, somewhere.
Just chuck it behind the fridge.
So hot on the heels, we've got just a quick one here. 14.4.1 iOS and iPad OS has been released with security fixes. So when there's a big iOS update, I tend to tell people just to cool their boots for a little bit if they can. I never can, but you know, other people. And when it's 14.4.1, those little releases are normally security ones. So I normally recommend everyone to make sure they're update. It's always security stuff when there's two dots after the number. So security ones are important to make sure you're safe. And I noticed macOS came out with one too. So that was last week. So if you haven't updated your phone, make sure you do that.
I haven't. I can't even look at my phone right now to see if it's updatable.
Last bit of news here before we jump on to gaming. second last. Apple might soon deliver standalone iOS security updates. So you're probably thinking, what?
No, I'm thinking it's about damn time.
So for those that don't know what we're talking about, Android phones like that, those fellas, they a couple of years ago they separated out the security updates from the regular OS updates. So we just spoke about 14.4.1 being released. Apple, the only way Apple can update anything on their phone is by a whole OS release. Android can just release security patches through the App Store, and it just goes through, automatically updates. You don't even need to restart your phone. So they're kind of,
in this day and age, you should be able to do that kind of thing.
They've kind of decoupled the security from the whole OS, I guess. So they can just drop these, and I believe the idea is that they will drop these automatically. So you see on the screen there.
Is this going to be coming out in the next major?
Yeah, 14.5.
Okay,
yeah. So we don't have to wait for OS 15.
More to be 15. Yeah.
Yep, no, it's going to be 14.5, and so that's pretty cool. Which is probably about time. We needed that to happen. I'd love for them to do it to all of their apps. You know, the Apple Music app and podcasts and mail and everything else. I'd love for them to just take them away from the OS updates and allow, it'd be great to be able to see some apps kind of get a bit more sort of TLC, which we just haven't seen from Apple. They just roll on. It's like, they're dominant or something. And on that, the Apple brand loyalty hits an all-time high as Samsung loyalty dives. Oh. So apparently there was a survey. I don't even know who's doing surveys anymore. Maybe people writing articles.
Usually grandmas that want to earn that extra buck or two.
Yeah. So apparently 91.9% of iPhone owners plan to buy another iPhone for their next upgrade. It's up by 1.5% from last year. And Samsung it's plunging, this article says. That's dramatic. Only 74% of Samsung owners plan to buy another Samsung model, down from 85 last year.
That's true. I know a lot of Samsung users that are now thinking of switching to Apple.
I mean, Samsung have tried, and it's actually my pick for this week, the new Ultra. But it's one of those things that when you've got that many products, that many ranges of phones, God knows how many they've got. They must have 20 or something you can buy, different Samsung phones. And that's in each different area. You go to China and everywhere else, there's all different variants that don't come out here. So there's buttloads of phones. So they are spreading themselves too thin. And I guess, that's a big thing probably, and with everything that's going, is probably the security. On that, Apple's really knocking them out of the park in the security side.
The privacy stuff.
Yeah.
Is where Apple is really starting to excel.
Yep.
I think also that Apple stuff is just really easy to use with everything else.
If you're in the ecosystem, for sure. Absolutely. Like I, even recording this, I plug my iPhone and the software automatically just picks it up and goes, oh yeah, you want to use this as a camera? Cool. I don't have to install anything extra. That ecosystem is really tight, and you go on to Windows, and they kind of try with bits and pieces, but it's one of those things that's just a really easy. Once you're in there, it's really easy to stay there. It's warm inside. Come here.
It is. It's cozy.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave.
So that is the tech news. We'll be right back with the gaming news, so stay tuned. Welcome back to part 2 of the what are we doing? FlashDrive. I was going to say FlashDance, but I definitely didn't say that.
I did try and make the logo, the FlashDance. Right.
Oh, did you?
But I couldn't find the font that you had to pay for the font. I didn't.
And you had no leg warmers.
That's right.
So
I do have the wristbands and the fluoro headband, but
well, you got to have everything. You
I
can't
don't like
just
ones.
you
I'm
can't just
not as
half.
80s as I should be.
All right, so part 2 of our little podcast here, we go into the gaming side. So I've got a couple of articles here that we can run through, and let's get into it. What he said.
Yes.
So first came off the rank here. Microsoft are looking into a fix for the unresponsive Xbox controller issue. You had this one,
This
Chris?
is the issue where the controller just turns off.
So I've not had it turn off. I just had it like it just doesn't do anything. So the light's still on, and it just stops responding to anything. And the only fix that I've been able to do is to pull the batteries out.
See, I haven't had that issue, but I've had it just turn off randomly.
Oh, have you? So, so they haven't fixed it. They're looking for a fix.
Looking into it.
Which
hang
is
on,
nice.
hang on. Didn't they say they had a supposed workaround in the last update?
Yeah. No, it's looking. So at
Now they're
Microsoft,
looking
we put all of our products through rigorous quality assurance testing and are committed to providing customers with an unparalleled gaming experience. We are aware some players may be experiencing unresponsiveness with their new Xbox wireless controllers, and our teams are actively working on a solution. For the best experience, we encourage customers to visit Xbox support for assistance. Cool.
But Xbox support will just say, "Have you tried this?" And everyone will be like, "Yes." Oh well, just wait.
Well, don't worry,
Wait
we're
for a fix.
looking. We're going to check under the couch right now.
What does your controller look like?
Speaking of that,
Wonder Burnett.
Sony, our favourite rival, has... I don't really call it Sony. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding with you. Sony...
I know a genuine Panaphonic when I see one.
Sony have patented a way of turning bananas, mugs, and more into PlayStation controllers. So they don't have any issues with their controllers. In fact, they're doing so well, they can use a banana.
See, Microsoft could learn a thing or two here.
That's right. So, if you're watching the video stream of this, it's a really awesome... I used to work at the patent office, and this is the sort of stuff you would get through all the time, of like these really crude drawings. They look, it's like they're done like in some little Asian sweatshop of all these artists that have to just churn this stuff out. So the drawing is a person holding a banana with 2 buttons on it.
But if you've only got an X and a triangle button, you're not going to be able to play much with that unless it's motion controlled. There's a motion controlled banana. What happens if you like push too hard and you squish the banana and it stops working? And then you got banana all over your pants. And you got to try to explain that to someone who just walked in. Why do you have banana on your pants? Sorry, I was playing Xbox. Sure you were. It was PlayStation.
It's bizarre. I'm not sure why you wouldn't want a normal controller.
I guess a banana is more ecologically friendly.
Ergonomic.
At least it's biodegradable.
That's true. And it's a tasty snack when you finish playing.
Well, I mean, I must say gamers do need more potassium.
That's true. So there you go. There's a patent for whatever that's worth. They've done it again. Sony. See, they're at the forefront. Moving on. The Division 2 will get a brand new game mode in late 2021 at the earliest. So I thought this was dead in the water, Division 2.
Yeah, I don't think I ever played it because I'm not a big fan of those cover shooters.
Did you ever play the first one?
I played the first one, not much of it though. So I can't really, not enough to have an opinion.
Like it was I mean, who made, was it Ubisoft who made Division? Ubisoft, yeah.
Yeah, it is Ubisoft.
Yeah. They, like all their games, they're beautiful, like beautiful to look at, but they don't always have the substance.
No, I find they're good for a certain amount of time and then they get really grindy. And
Unlike,
they do, it's like they just chuck in all this really boring, repetitive stuff to lengthen the game.
so let's say you had a game called, I don't know, Watch Dogs Legion, and you thought you would bring out a multiplayer. Okay,
Yes,
so Chris
you
and
would
I
expect-
tested out multiplayer the other night.
and there is nothing there.
There were
There is
four
literally four
missions.
co-op missions that just repeat over and
That's
over and
right.
over again. And there's actually more solo missions to do, which is just, download something from this guy. There's more of those than there is actually co-op missions.
Yeah.
And a lot of people aren't happy with it either. I gotta say, I was really looking forward to the multiplayer, and it was fun. The 4 missions I had, I really
Yeah.
enjoyed.
Yeah. It just wasn't. It
But
wasn't ready.
yeah, there was
So
just not enough. I mean, they delayed the PC launch. They should have delayed.
have
all
they
of it.
delayed? Have they cancelled it, or they just delayed it?
Or they delayed it for like 2 weeks. The PC.
Have they?
I
Well, they
think it
don't
was
need
like 2
longer than
weeks.
that to turn this into a multiplayer.
Well, the thing is, like, functionally, I didn't come across any bugs.
It was
or
smooth.
anything.
It was really smooth.
There was just nothing to do. That was the
Once we
issue.
finished our missions 1.5 times, then we just ended up just running into each other over with cars.
I think we spent like an hour just running each over in cars, and then crashing cars into each other, and
That was fun.
that was more fun.
They should have consulted with us about the best way to make that.
Best way to make the game is just make it a crash game.
But yeah, it was so smooth, and had a few issues kind of getting on the same server or whatever we were trying to into the same game. But once we got that sorted, it worked. But yeah, geez, there's some, and I don't know how many chances you're going to have these days of just ask our good friend Cyberpunk.
Well, yeah, I enjoyed Cyberpunk. I'm one of the few that I didn't have that many issues. I didn't have any game-breaking bugs.
I think part of the problem with Cyberpunk was that not everyone's got the newer generation of hardware.
Well, they shouldn't have promised it for the original.
Yeah,
Xbox
they should have
PS4.
just released it on the
Should have been
on the new system.
Xbox One X, PS Pro,
Yeah,
and above.
yeah,
But they'd promised it, so they kind of shot themselves in the foot with that.
yeah, and that's going to be the ongoing joke for the next however long.
Yeah. Well, the problem is now they've been spending all the time fixing those versions and not fixing any of the bugs in the other versions.
I'm still surprised it's still full price on the store, because I was looking through the store the other day and I was like, I wonder if it's dropped. If it actually, because I got a refund, I thought if it dropped, I would actually probably buy it because it did run. I didn't have any issues with it running, but I heard that there was a refund. And I was like, oh, well, I wasn't playing as much as I thought I would have, and I got the refund. But if it came down in price, I'd probably get it again.
Yeah. See, I've got a couple of gripes with the game. I really enjoyed it. I thought the story was great, the acting was great, the graphics were incredible. But there was just certain like little things that kind of just got really annoying. Like you can steal all these cars, but you can't customize them or keep them, or you can't, and you get all these cars that you can't modify or keep. The story was really short.
Yeah.
Certain details like things like you get in GTA where you can shoot the water and it splashes.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in Cyberpunk, and it's like they've created this amazing world, but again, there's just not the substance.
It felt hollow. Felt pretty hollow walking around. Like it looks so cool.
Really confusing to know where you are, because it'll be like, oh, go to this area to do that, but when you look at your map, none of the little the main areas are named, but none of the sub areas which you've got to go to.
Yeah. And the GPS was the worst.
GPS is. But CD Projekt Red have never been good with GPS. Like in The Witcher 3, it was terrible.
It was like, you need to go left that way. Too late.
Yeah, you need to go this way. Oh, no, behind you. Nope.
Yeah, that's right. Spin around 3 times, you'll get there.
But then you look at Watch Dogs Legion, and the GPS in that is perfect because it actually lays it out on the road. I'm thinking, this is Cyberpunk. This is a futuristic game. Why haven't they got like an augmented reality kind of GPS?
Don't know. You should ask Keanu. He'll tell you.
I know, but he's not talking to me at the moment.
Oh, you need to get over that. Seriously. Right, moving on. Nintendo. Ever heard of them? So there's a rumor. There's a new Switch model coming out with an OLED screen and 4K support in the works. Are you excited by this, Chris?
I'm kind of annoyed by it, to be honest. Because Because if they knew this was coming out, I probably wouldn't have bought a Switch. I would have waited.
I completely agree. I just got the Switch Lite last year, and I'm like, I so would have gotten a 4K, and with an OLED too.
At the same time, I kind of am keen for it because I'd love to see like Breath of the Wild in 4K. Because that's a beautiful game as it is, but to see it in 4K would be amazing.
So I wonder if it would keep the same dimensions of it. So it would only just output 4K to the screen, right?
It'd be 4K to the screen because I'd say like at the moment it's 720 portable, 1080p to your TV.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say it'd be similar. Okay, so it'll have the same 720 resolution on the OLED screen, but it'll be 4K to your TV.
Right. I mean, but that's probably one
4K,
thing.
4K on a screen that size
wouldn't make
would
any
be
difference.
tiny.
Yeah,
you wouldn't be able to see anything because everything would be so packed full of pixels.
Yeah,
like the the UI would just be tiny.
It's but I think the OLED screen would make a massive difference.
Oh, the colors, it'd be so like,
because it's
so
that's one thing. It's just washed out. Like I just going from any modern smartphone over to that, or any really modern TV, and to that, and you're like, oh, it's just you can see the LCD, you can see the light coming through, and it kind of just washes things out a bit. So I think it's good. I just I'm with you. Like it's one of those things too. You look at the catalog of games and what it offers as a device is really hard to argue against. Like it's just amazing.
I think this is a common thing now with all console developers is they come out with a base model, then a couple of years later they come out with an upgraded model. Like you had the PS4, then you had the PS4 Pro.
It's like the second bite of the cherry.
And the Xbox One X and One S.
Yeah.
And now we've got the Series X, which is basically just the next model up. It's the exact same console, just with upgraded specs, really.
Yeah.
So I think this is just Nintendo's way of doing that same thing.
I think you're right.
That's a first.
Maybe. Hey, at least it's happened. Hey, how about our friends at Microsoft? Their 7.5 billion ZeniMax acquisition has gone ahead. So this is from last week. It's all done and dusted now. This
is amazing. When I heard this, I thought it was absolutely incredible. Mm-hmm. Mostly because, for one, I'm a huge advocate of Game Pass.
Yep.
Love
Me
Game
too.
Pass, and to have all of the Bethesda and id Software and other subsidiaries on there is amazing. But this also gives me hope that the Fallout series might pick up again. And because Microsoft now own Obsidian, which is the guys that created Fallout New Vegas and also has the guys that created Fallout in the first place, that hopefully Microsoft will go, sorry, Bethesda, but Obsidian are now working on Fallout.
It's one of those things. I remember hearing it when they announced it, and it was like, whoa, okay, it's
a huge move. Like,
yep.
I remember when I'm hearing, I'm like, smart. Like, it was a smart move. Like,
I mean, it's good to have the cash to be able to do it.
Well, the big thing is, what's Sony going to do now? If they decide to now make all these games exclusives for the Xbox and Windows,
yep.
What are Sony going to do?
And as if they wouldn't. Why wouldn't you? If you had unless the developer the developers in there kick up a bit of a fuss.
Well, the only reason you wouldn't is money.
Yeah.
Because you probably make more money if you release it on multiple consoles.
Yeah.
So there's still a chance that it won't be like exclusive games.
Yeah.
For Microsoft, and it also depends on what existing contracts are in place and all that.
Exactly.
Legal mumbo jumbo. Microsoft are just becoming this giant, and Sony are going to be scrambling to keep up.
Well, it was funny when at the release of the two new consoles, everyone was having a laugh at Microsoft for not having any exclusives. They were like, and barely anything really. There was only a handful of games that were even next gen compatible, and
that's kind of annoyed me.
Yeah.
because I'm really waiting to see a game which takes advantage of the new hardware and
Yeah,
pushes it. But
yeah. But
it
from
will
what
come.
I've heard too, though, Sony haven't exactly knocked anything out of the park.
Mm.
They've got it for the exclusives they've got. They haven't exactly gone, oh my god, this is just the game you have to play. There's nothing like that.
Mm.
You know.
So I think everyone's just sitting there waiting for that next huge game because all the games that have come out recently have been kind of, eh.
Yeah, I mean, we all saw that demo last year of the new Tomb Raider game that
Yeah,
looked like
the Unreal Engine demo.
that actually looked like a movie. It was real. That's the sort of stuff we're chomping at the bit to see.
Yeah, but at the moment, some of the games, Ubisoft are just kicking it out of the park graphically with these games. But it still doesn't seem like, because I played Assassin's Creed Valhalla on the Xbox One X and the Series X, and there wasn't a huge difference between it. Like, it was noticeable, but not like a huge leap.
Yeah, the loading times probably was the
loading time was like dramatically different.
Yeah.
But just things like the textures of the rocks as you're climbing were crisper. And
yeah, I noticed playing Dirt 5 the other day. Some of the how the dynamic weather and stuff works, and that goes from sort of as you're driving from light to dark and stuff like that. That's really done really well. And depending on, you can set the setting to what you want it to prioritize. But if you set
Dirt
it,
5 is a beautiful looking game.
Yeah. So there's examples of it, but yeah, I think we're still probably 12 months away from anything that's gone. And with COVID, it's not helping either. We're still away.
So Epic Games have bought Tonic Games Group.
Is this a newsflash?
Yes, newsflash. It's from the same article.
Oh.
Oh, EA acquired Codemasters.
Oh, have they?
Wow. And Nintendo have bought Next Level Games, who created the Luigi's Mansion series. So I guess it's a good time to own a game company.
Yeah, that's right. Especially if you've got an older catalog that is useful to Microsoft. So speaking of that,
Codemasters
we
getting
had
snapped up by EA is kind of sad, because any company gets bought by EA, it's a death sentence.
It is really is. Like we've just had, was it 12 games or something that were thrown into Game Pass last week with from the ZeniMax acquisition. That's just going to grow. The Game Pass is it's a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer.
It's such good value. $15 a month for over 100 games.
Yep. And if someone came to me and said, I'm thinking of a PlayStation or an Xbox, I would, I tend to be pretty unbiased with any recommendations for tech stuff, but I would, without a doubt, just go, you're crazy.
Think value for money now.
Absolutely.
Microsoft, because I had the PS3 and the PS4, and I loved both of them. But then I got the Xbox, so I was really skeptical about getting the Xbox One when it came out.
Yep.
And then I'm like, I caved and I bought one, and then I just started liking it. I found myself just playing it more than I was playing the PlayStation.
Yep.
And then Game Pass came along, and that was just what PlayStation.
Yeah. I can send you a photo if you forget what it looks like.
Oh no, I've got it. It's now a drink holder.
It looks like a router, the new one.
I didn't get the router version.
You didn't get the router version.
My PS4 is covered in Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, is it?
Stickers. Yeah, I got the those labels you can get, which transform the whole look of the.
Oh yeah.
Dallas Cowboys one off some Chinese site.
Nice. So there's been a March Xbox update. Xbox update. Xbox update with a couple of features on there. Auto HDR and frame rate boost toggles. So they're on by default. I had a look the other day, and they were already on for mine. So essentially, it turns it on for backwards compatible games.
Oh, nice.
So the hardware is doing all the a lot of heavy lifting for. Certainly, the frame rate boost is really good. It's hard to. I haven't sort of tested it with it on and off yet, but having the auto HDR and the frame rate boost just as part of the OS, that's cool.
That's great.
Especially for that they've got all that big back catalog, because of Game Pass. So you'd imagine those the ones that are in there are probably going to work pretty well with it.
Try some of the original Xbox games I got and see how they play.
Yeah. There's no update about the controller issue.
No, they're looking into it.
Yeah.
They'll get back. Don't call them. They'll call us.
That's right. So you can verify the title supports FPS boost and auto HDR by pressing the Xbox button and checking the indicators under the clock. Good. It's at the top right, I think. Maybe. Anyway, so that's good. That's a nice little update that came out. And finally, this one came out today. Outriders will debut on Xbox Game Pass, but with a catch.
What's the catch?
You have to give them your firstborn. Outriders is a new game. See if I can get a little... Nope, there's no video here.
So is it like an RPG?
I believe it is an RPG.
April 1st. That sounds suspect.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. But normally that's on April. But it's normally on April 1st though that they're doing it. They do a joke. Not the lead up.
Yeah. That could be the joke. It's you're not actually getting it.
So Outriders.
Say makes it clear you will have to manually cancel your pre-order purchase from the store. Okay, so if you'd bought it, pre-ordered it, you have to go cancel that.
Right, and the catch is it's not going to be on PC.
Okay.
So it's from Square Enix. And it is... I think it is an RPG. There's nothing here. I don't know if you will play...
It has lots of fire by the looks of it.
Almost too much fire. Yeah.
Is there such a thing?
4 unique classes, a dark and desperate journey. Ever been on a dark and desperate journey?
That's every day of my life.
An intense shooter, deep RPG. Oh, gosh.
Oh, Lee, you're going to have to lie.
1969.
He's got to enter his date of birth.
Oh, yeah. My date of birth.
He's also 13.
Thank you.
It just came up. For those who aren't watching this, he entered his date of birth with the year 1969. Watched this video, and it came up saying that
many threats stand
not the right age to watch it.
Let me just turn that down a bit.
The character model looked like it's something out of RuneScape.
Yeah. I mean, you never can really tell. But apparently the demo's already out. The first... The prologue.
On Xbox or on PC?
I think the prologue's on PC at the moment.
Yeah. There is no way in hell that my computer would run this.
No. It would run away from it.
No, it would probably run into it and explode.
And melt. It looks interesting. And it's good that that's coming to Game Pass.
Coming out on Game Pass, I'll definitely give it a shot.
So that one was announced today. So that will be interesting. So 1st of April, that's coming out. So I think we are just about ready to wrap this baby up. First episode in the can. Probably ran a little bit long, but we'll...
Yes, in the toilet.
In the can. Have you got a toilet sound effect? Whoa.
Hold on.
Here we go!
Actually, that's what I'd say before I go to the toilet. That's exactly what I say.
Okie dokie.
That's what I say when I've finished.
Right, well, that's the first one in the can, toilet. So thanks for tuning in. We will be back soon, possibly next week if we all have enough luck going our way, with some new tech news and game news. And Chris, if people want to join the conversation with you, how's the best way to do that?
They can follow me on Twitter at @cbegformercy, or you can watch me stream games on the regular at twitch.tv/elgrandechris.
That's with EL. Just in case you thought you were being cool and cutting out the E.
ELGRANDECHRIS.
There you go. So stay tuned for that. You can grab me at Lee Stoker, or you can head over to leestoker.com for some more tech news and reviews. What we haven't done is our pick of the week.
Oh, yeah, we should probably do that.
So, Chris, I'll leave it in your valuable hands.
So my pick of the week is an app called BeatStar.
BeatStar.
And so it's like, remember the old Guitar Hero games?
Yes.
It's like that, but on your phone. And it has a whole range of songs, from classic songs to modern pop songs to Primus. So pretty much everything is on there. I was playing a Prodigy song earlier. That's the one. Except in English.
It just converted.
And it is a lot of fun. And best thing is, it doesn't blast you with dads.
It sounded like it doesn't blast you with dads, is what you just said.
It doesn't blast you with dads or ads. It is just a fun game.
I did play it. It was good fun. I concur.
And the progression model is really good, and like you're constantly always getting new songs to play, and they've got this thing called venues where you can compete against other players to unlock stars, so you can go up levels quicker.
Actually, I was playing it. I thought the haptic feedback was really cool, like when you held the longer notes and you could hear the beat going as you held it down.
Actually, the way the haptic feedback works is really good. You actually feel like you're pushing a button.
No,
whereas I find most games on the phone tend to be like, especially when there's controls, it doesn't feel like you've got control.
Yeah,
it's like you're just sliding around the screen.
And it's free.
It's free. There are in-game, like there are microtransactions if you want to buy these gems, but so far I haven't had the need to, and I haven't had any ads at all. So
no, good one.
In my book, this is a win of an app.
There you go, BeatStar.
#winning.
So that's on. I was playing it on my pick of the week the other day. So that's this bad boy, the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra.
Is there like 30 cameras on the back of that?
There are 30 cameras on the back. If you can see those. It kind of looks like a cyborg. Really nice phone. I haven't had a Samsung since 2013, maybe. That was my last S3, Galaxy S3, and I hated it. It was the biggest piece of crap.
That was a year I switched to Samsung.
There you go. No, I think you had the one after me.
Yeah, I think I got
maybe
the
it was the year before. Yeah, you had the 4, and I think they might have started to kind of sort their crap out a bit. But this one and the Pro Max, the Apple, the iPhone Pro Max, what is it? i13, iPhone 12 Pro Max.
Yes, 12.
Lucky I like Apple so much. These are the two best phones at the moment. So the Ultra, we've got a lot of the junk on that they used to have on there. Some of it's still there, but you can hide it now. I guess similar to what Apple do, you can actually just get rid of the apps. They're still there, but the icon's not. When you delete an app like the stock app on iOS, it's still there, but it's technically hidden. They just delete it, and as soon as you go to install it again, it magically appears. So similar thing. Samsung
Never used that app.
So Samsung are getting their crap together. I think. Really been enjoying using it. The camera's probably, I wouldn't say as good as the iPhone. They've got, with all those cameras, they've got a really nice zoom camera, and that goes up, I think up to 10x zoom. That's optical.
The optical.
Yeah, and then 100 digital zoom, like you need to do that. So I guess if you need to see someone across the other side of the river and see what they're doing, you could probably do that. But yeah, I was a big fan of the zoom. I think on the Oppo they called it space zoom, and same thing. It allows you to sort of be back here, and I use it for taking photos of the kids. When I get in close, it looks like I'm getting a really close shot, but I'm back here letting them play around and do what they do.
Nice.
So that was really good. And then they dropped it on the new Oppo. They don't have that anymore, and that really kind of got me angry and makes me not want to get it. That's got it, and it's a really nice implementation. The software is really quick. It's got all the regular sort of Android sort of stuff that you expect. One thing it has got on here that I was really happy to see was the Google Home. The Google Home now when you swipe to the left, that way, to that way, it now has Google Home. So it used to be some Bixby crap or whatever, but that's what you get on the Pixel. So
did they get rid of Bixby?
Bixby's still on there, but you can basically silence it, which is really good. Again, I never really used Bixby, but we all know how good the Google Assistant is. So anyway, that's been a really good phone. Not sure if I'll stay on it because it's been a week. So
well, yeah. You like at the beginning of the episode, you said you hadn't changed your phone this year, and that was a lie.
It was a lie. So I've had the Pro Max, the regular iPhone 12, the Samsung Ultra, and I'd say the thing is, you know what you're getting with an iPhone. So you could argue that there's little bits and pieces that Apple don't do, that Samsung do, or that Android in general do, but they're getting really close now, the OSs. So I think if you spent an equal amount of money on both, you would get a phone that you'd be pretty happy with. And I don't think unless I'm still really ensconced in the Apple ecosystem. So there's some apps that just aren't on Android that kind of make me sad, and that's why I'll probably never leave the iPhone. But it's nice to have a play and see what else is out there. So they're definitely keeping, irrespective of what we said before with that news article about the Samsung people dropping it, or less people are going to be buying it again. I think if you had this phone, and I don't know what last year's was like, but if you had this phone this year, I think you'd be pretty happy with it, and you'd probably be staying with it, personally. So anyway, that's my pick of the week. So that is really the end of the episode. So you can you can find us on your favorite podcast thing.
We've already listened to it, so
yes.
Whatever you listen to this on,
keep doing that.
Keep listening on that thing you listened to this on.
If you head over to leadstoker.com, you'll be able to, and we'll have it in the show notes too, the links to the video on YouTube. So I'll put that up there, and you can have a look at there and see our smiling faces. Or whatever. See what we look like, and then never do it again. So that's it. That's all the time we've got for this week. So please stay tuned for next week when we talk about some more gaming and tech news. You've been listening to FlashDrive. I'm Lee.
I'm Chris.
And we'll see you next time.
Oh, I wanted to do this.
Bye.
We'll catch you next time.
Push the wrong button.